welcome back. We are in the top 8 quarterfinals. So only 3 little rounds left, and we will have a modern championship qualified individual because he won this tournament.
So I just want to say, if anyone was listening earlier, I told you so. We got Dredge on stream here. So just saying, leave your grave hate at home. Like maybe I'll just play Dredge or Hollow One or some sort of graveyard deck.
So Dredge made it. One of like 2 dredgers, and he is in our quarterfinals right here, right now, against Jund. This is an interesting one because, you know, Jund does have all that spot removal, but Dredge just keeps him coming. They just come and come and come until you're like, do you have a rest in peace? No? Okay, well, here's another prize amalgam. Do you have this? No? Okay, here's another one. And another one.
And Creeping Chill.
Creeping Chill. Yeah, no, it's just...
The best Blackburn spell ever.
DJ Khaled. Another one.
Another one. I like it. I mean, we have Collin Stiles on the left. Collin's playing Jund. And Andrew Dressler, who is on Dredge.
So, Andrew is on the play. Looks like he went to 6. He's going to fetch Shock. And let's see what good action he's got right now.
So, I kind of like what Andrew has potentially going on, right? It's your typical Dredge deck minus looting, obviously. No more. He's got 4 straight corns, which is pretty sweet. He also has the neonates.
Yep.
So there's obviously still ways to get the engine going. And once it starts going, like, should be pretty solid.
Yeah, 100%. And for one, Senior Pat Rugby, we are currently at 8 players, but we had 71 total. Nice, good, fun day.
7 rounds of
7
grade
rounds
A action, actually. It's pretty
grade
solid.
A modern. We've seen a lot of varieties. You know, we've had the Niv Mizzet Reborn deck. We have Dredge now. We've had Jund on here. We had humans on here. You know, the only thing we did not see as well so far, it may or may not be in the other 3 matches, Eldrazi or Tron.
No Urza either.
There's only a couple Urza players, but I don't think they did too well. For all we know, one might have snuck in here. I didn't look at all the top 8 deck lists yet, so we might have some interesting other matchups coming up.
Ooh, little Life from the Loam action for Andrew.
And there was a lot of choices there. He milled a lot of lands, and he's going to leave that Life from the Loam to the side because he says, hey, my upkeep, this is going in my hand.
Uh-oh.
Scoos.
Natural Predator right here.
That is a good card for Collin Stiles. That one of 2 of Scavenging Ooze.
The thing I like is right here. It's definitely solid. Like when Collin gets on tap, he already has 2 forests.
Yeah.
Overgrown 2 and a 4, so you can just start trying to eat stuff away.
For sure. Like Andrew can try and get back into this, and he's just gonna be like, I'm gonna conflagrate, get this out of my hand, and then I'm going to flash it back, discard my Stinkweed Deep and Life from the Loam in order to kill that Scoos. So that was definitely a good setup for Andrew. Like, sure, it's unfortunate that our Conflagrate is gone, but, you know, that Scoos needed to go. It could not stay around.
I think, I kind of like what Collin looks like he has going on his hand here. He's got Bloodbraid Elves, he's got a Bolt. Looks like he also maybe got a Goyf.
Those are some good hits for Andrew. We got a Bloodghast that'll come in off a land, a Prize Amalgam that's going to come in off the Bloodghast, and a Creeping Chill to get in for a little extra damage.
Creeping Chill, low-key best burn spell.
I know, it's so annoying.
I just, the whole thing with Dredge is like, people, Faithless Looting was super strong, we know this. And people are just, writing off decks like Dredge and things like that. And it's like, there is a time and a place. And right now, I think is the perfect time for it.
It's definitely a good one. Everyone's like, oh, Hogak's gone. It's not big. I definitely think, Hollow One Season Pyromancer and Dredge are, low-key radar decks right now. They could definitely... It's like how we were talking about Boggles earlier. Boggles isn't horrible, but it's, a super under-the-radar deck right now. And, taking out a Narcomoeba with Abrupt Decay might not be feel good, but, at least we can kind of start racing here. We got some power on the board with Bloodbraid Elf. Ooh.
Narcomoeba, there's one prize at the mountain.
That's definitely going to trigger a prize at the end. The question is if Andrew decides to play a land to get double Bloodghast, which with Collin at 8, I'm pretty sure we're doing exactly that. Because we're going to get back a land. We're going to play a land and be able to cycle a land. So that's pretty sweet. Get back 2 Bloodghast to get in for 2, 4, 6 damage, putting Collin to 2. Ooh. That's going to be...
Dredge and Queen up.
And maybe hit a Conflagrate. Can he win right here? He cannot. But still some really good targets. We're going to play our land for turn. We're going to get back some Bloodghasts. And that might be too much, because unless Collin has a Damnation in the sideboard we don't know, or in the main board we don't know about, which I don't see, he has too many creatures on the board for him to deal with. Because you got just the 2 flying and the air alone, so he only has to get him with 1 other point of damage. And that's 3 creatures to 1 Bloodbraid.
Nope.
Wow. Quick game 1.
Going to 2.
Let's see if... just out of nowhere, Dredge wins this whole thing.
So the big thing here, like Collin has going for him, is he actually does have Grave Hate. He's got 2 Nighthawk spell bombs in the board.
He's got the 2 spell bombs. Those will be helpful. 2 might not be enough though. You do have the Kalitas. The Kalitas will be so good.
Just gonna eat
like
stuff and
between the
tokens.
lifelink and exiling, like I don't even care about the token. It's just the lifelink and the exiling, insane. The Fulminator Mages, not good enough. Like, I don't want to be spending 3 mana to blow up a land. That's irrelevant. Vraska, Golgari Queen, she also just feels too slow. On 4, I want to be playing that Kalitas. Plague Engineer,
You think it's relevant? It keeps Bloodghast away.
I'm, like, on the fence about that one. I think it's good enough. Like, the Narcomoebas will insta-die if you choose them. Or you can go with the Bloodghast, or even, like, a Prize Amalgam, anything you really want. It is a Death Toucher. It will trade with a creature, but that creature will come back. Your Plague Engineer will not. Whereas the Nelhai Spellbombs, those are 100% both copies coming in. The Collective Brutalities, I don't think are good enough. Like, the taking a card from your hand isn't the greatest because most of Andrew's cards are going to be coming back. Like Life from the Loam, you're just going to get those back. If you hit a Conflagrate, you kind of just made it a little easier for them to cast it by putting it in their graveyard instead. A Braid, he's got plenty of better spot removal spells. So I think Kalitas and Nelhai will be the big ones coming in. And if he feels like it, he might have some Plague Engineers come in, but definitely those first 2. Where over on Andrew's side, he's got choices. He's got a lot of options. You know, you're sitting on 2 Thoughtseize, 3 Lightning Axe, Shenanigan, 2 Ancient Grudge, a Nature's Claim, Alpine Moon, Ghost Quarter, Blast Zone, Assassin's Trophy. I definitely think the Assassin's Trophy can be helpful. 2 mana, blow something up. Blast Zone isn't horrible, but that is, I feel, pretty mana intensive for a Dredge deck.
You think the Lightning Axe is good? Gives you some extra removal against, the limited creatures that Collin has.
I don't think the Lightning Helixes are bad. I think they're decent because, like, there are definitely some, like, mediocre cards for him in his main board that I think he could swap them out, put a couple Lightning Axes in, because the Lightning Axe should be able to deal with pretty much every creature at all times. Like, Goyf has to be pretty big in order not to be killed by a Lightning Axe.
All right, these guys are going to shuffle up. Yeah, I don't know. I know this matchup in general is like, if I'm playing Dredge, I'm probably feeling pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely. I think also like play draw will definitely affect. Like Collin will be happy that he can be on the play and kind of get a couple lands ahead to start stabilizing. He won't have to like probably shock as often in order to like keep up with Andrew and his pace. So this could definitely be an interesting game 2. Could be a quick game 2 and no game 3, but we'll see how it goes. Both players shuffling up, probably just talking about whatever happened in game 1 or their day.
Yeah.
Have a nice conversation,
Where
friendly banter.
Where they're from, what they're doing.
They might even know each other for all we know.
I know. I like when this happens, this type of interaction, because there's times where you sit down and your opponent's like super chatty, and once the game starts, to get like real quiet.
Yeah, there's
Another
just like
time
zero
it's
communication.
Yeah, and other times it's like you have an awesome opponent. You guys have
Just have a good time, laugh it out.
play the game. Doesn't matter.
Both draw lands, don't play Magic, so you're like, well, might as well talk. All right, so looking at our first 7, let's see if both players get to keep a nice 7. That is a lot of lands, but that was a Nelhai Spellbind.
What is...
Yep, I think...
Collin's first card. That's what I want to know.
It looks like a Plague Engineer.
It might be.
It looks a little black to me, but either way, like, it's got a Nelhai Spellbomb. I think I'm keeping that. Just for that one hate card.
Look, this Andrew's hand, you have... Looks like a Shriekhorn, Bloodghast, some lands...
Probably a Stinkweed Imp there. So definitely a decent hand for both. But Andrew was like, nah, I can do better. I don't blame him. Like, he had no way of really pitching any cards to get Dredging going. You know, if he had like a Cathartic Reunion or just something to really get him going, that would have been a pretty sweet hand. But, you know, just like doing a turn 2 Bloodghast and turn 3 creature, it's like, it's not what you want to be doing for Dredge.
Really, the cool thing too about Dredge is like, just mull all day, right?
Oh, for sure.
For the most part.
It's one of those decks we talked about. Like, you can definitely go to 5 and have a pretty safe, secure hand. Like, you have one game strategy. Put your deck in your graveyard and just continue on. So it looks like Collin's not shuffling up, so he should be keeping his 7. His hand, like I said, it has a lot of lands. It might not be phenomenal, but it's got that Nelhai Spellbomb, which will replace itself. So I'm still... I'd probably keep that hand, too.
Alright. Let's see what Andrew gets here. I think, you know, just going to try and be as aggressive as possible.
For sure.
Do the typical Dredge thing and then go from there. For Collin, just there's a lot of lands.
There is a lot of lands, but there's some fetches to thin the deck a little bit. Like I said, that Plague Engineers, ooh, that was a 1-lander with a Forgotten Cave. Andrew was like, no, thank you. I'm going to shuffle this back, and I'm going to take a new 7 and sculpt a nice 5er from there. Because that hand probably wasn't going to do anything for him. Andrew would have had to draw like a god in order to make that hand work. Which I guess being on the draw, if he really felt like being a little giddy. Oh, no, he was going to 6 already. I was going to say we could have kept 7, draw for turn, and just discard, play no land. I've done that before in Legacy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Passed the turn, and my opponent was like, you didn't play a land. I was like, I know.
Do the thing.
Don't worry about it.
Pitch the Grizzlebrand.
And he got very concerned. Actually playing Oops All Spells.
Okay.
So I was just like, move to my end step, discard. He was just like, you didn't play a land. I'm like, yeah, I know. Discard Battle Strike Spy. Go.
I definitely know I've done things like that. And, you know, I used to have Reanimator in Legacy. I'm just like,
it is a very weird situation you're almost never in. I've done it literally once in the 7 years I've played Magic. It is not common, but it's very confusing for your opponent. Or telling, depending how long they've been playing.
I mean, there's a lot of things like that. I know in the passive lightning bolted myself when I played Death Shadow, just to play a monster. So it looks like Andrew's going to keep.
All right, we found a nice 5. Yeah, it's not bad. We got Cathartic Reunion to go with a Stinkweed Imp and a Life from Loam. It's definitely like a solid 5. I'm sure Andrew is not happy seeing a Nelhai Spellbomb right there, but you know he can still play around it and get through it. Got a little fetch action. I'd imagine Collin's probably not going to tap out, but this early in the game he could probably tap for 2 mana and leave the Spellbomb not being able to draw a card off of it. I think a Scooz here would be a great draw. Hit was a great draw. So that's definitely a great start for him. Turn 1 Spellbomb, turn 2 Scooz. Andrew's going to feel a little pressure here. Because he won't even need to Spellbomb. He can just eat things away with that Scooz. And it'll either get bigger or just keep him from doing anything. And then Scooz will just win the game. It's not often when you see that anymore.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, back, you know, even a couple years ago, Scavenging Ooze was way better than it is.
For sure. Oh, definitely. Like, Dredge decks have evolved so many times over the past couple of years with the unbanning and rebanning of Gregary Grave Troll, Hogak. It's had a roller coaster of a ride for Dredge over here. But now, Andrew's definitely in an interesting position. Like, he probably wants to fire off the Life from the Loam or the Cathartic Reunion in order to start going. But he definitely has to keep the Spellbomb in mind. But he is going to go with just discarding the 1. Ooh. So he's going to go for... so by the looks of it, so he's just double checking. So you have to discard your cards before resolving the Cathartic Reunion. So he is going to go with using his Spell Bomb before letting the Cathartic Reunion resolve. And he just simply has to draw cards.
Uh-oh.
And they're just double checking right now what happens to Cathartic Reunion. The last thing you do for resolving a card is putting it in the graveyard. So Cathartic Reunion will stay in the graveyard, but the other cards will be gone. So no Dredge for life for Stinkweed Imp, which is I'm assuming why Andrew didn't pitch Life from the Loam and Stinkweed Imp there, because he would have just lost both cards for no reason.
Here's Tarmogoyf.
Whew, get some beats in, and we get to leave up a green source. That way, if anything Dredge-wise happens, boom, we got it.
Man, I wish Goyf was just as good as it used to be.
It's still pretty decent right here. It's a 3/4. You got a land, artifact, and a sorcery, and then you can leave the creature in there for a turn to get in for a point of damage, and then eat it with the Scavenging Ooze afterwards. So it's definitely looking good for Collin, since he has a way to deal with the graveyard on field. He's got pressure, and Andrew doesn't have a lot going on since his graveyard was already taken away once.
I think, like, overall, I like where Collin stands, right? You just have, like, 2 forests, Scavenging Ooze. You know, like you said, the Goyf is a little beefier. It just looks solid overall, especially because Andrew doesn't have too much going on.
For sure. Similar to game 1, like how he had the Conflagrate. Like, if he didn't have it here, it's definitely looking good for Collin. Like, the Stinkweed Up is a little annoying. You gotta kind of just swing with only the Goyf, and then do that. You gotta leave your Scoos. You can't just throw it away. But then you're also fine with it because you trade off and you get to eat. And now the Scavenging is a little harder to kill for the Conflagrate. And you just have tons of green mana. That is the one interesting thing, the fact that, like, Twilight Mire is, like, non-existent now because of Nurturing Peatland.
I just think it's better, right? You're just going to draw cards.
You negate, like, on life, so you lose 1 to make a green, and then you gain 1 to do it. So this has just got to be awkward for Andrew. Like, you're hard casting your creatures. It's not really what you want to do. That is not the game plan you want. Colin's like, yeah, here's my Scoos. It can go sideways. It does know how to do that.
So if I'm Collin here, does it look like he drew a trophy?
Yeah, he drew another. He definitely drew a trophy, but I also like just jamming another Scoos because if Andrew manages to deal with 1, he could have kept doing things. But now that there's 2 on the field, it's just even more annoying. And like he did draw the Lightning Axe, so I'm sure Andrew was like, "Oh yeah, I could do something." Oh no, there's a second Scoos. I can only kill 1. I can't kill both.
Looks like Andrew's gonna go for a Lightning Axe.
Yeah, he wants to get that big one out of the way. He's like, I'm just going to discard this Creeping Chill, get out of the way. Still nothing insane for him to eat. Shriekhorn's a little helpful. If Andrew can find another way to deal with that second Scoos, then for sure that Shriekhorn can get Andrew back into this game. Drawing all the green source. But no creatures in the graveyard makes it very sad for Collin. Ooh,
Shriekhorn
get
away?
some.
Life from the Loam?
And that is definitely going to get eaten before the upkeep. He's like, no dredging for you. He is like limited on his green sources, but he's not probably going to need too many targets there.
Yeah, I think like if I'm Andrew at this point, I have to be hard casting these amalgams like he has.
Yeah,
like
you have to be hard casting all your things.
I need blockers. I need some way to get in. You need something.
He's gonna eat both of his creatures. He says, "I want to turn my Scavenging Ooze sideways again."
There's no better time than now. Another land for Collin.
Yeah, like he's sitting on land Assassin Trophy, but he's still looking in good position with the Scavenging Ooze and tons of green sources, especially if one more creature hits the graveyard, making that a 5/5. We're looking real good. So Andrew definitely needs to try to find an answer for that Scavenging Ooze, I think, within the next turn or two before Collin decides, I'm firing off this Assassin's Trophy and eating a prize of Malcolm, or he might just fire it off on the Shriekhorn.
Yeah, the other option Colin has available to him is he can still crack the Peatland.
Yep, he can still draw a card, and still leaves him with, I believe, 3 green sources. I think that's a full art forest hiding in between all that, not a swamp. So, he's still sitting on 3 green sources. I think end of this turn, sacking that Peatland to get a card, I think is definitely a good position for him. Because here we're going to loam. He's going to get back some lands that we don't really care about because they all deal him damage. And he's definitely going to eat that life from the loam. First priority he gets. And yep, he's just going to fire it out. I think this is fine. You fire off the trophy. You can eat the prize to Malcolm if you want to at the end of the turn, making your guy huge as a 5/5. He can even leave the mana open. That way he still has the green source and wait to draw up with the Peatland on his next turn. And then this Scoos is saying, I'm coming for your face. And we just see 4 lands. That is not what Andrew wants for this deck. We know he just got 3 back, but still, it's a lot of lands for Dredge.
Definitely right now, Colin's for sure in the driver's seat with the Zoos.
For sure. Having all these green sources, sure, you have the Shriekhorn to try to get some, something going, but the things are just going to get eaten. Really, you kind of just need to hit a Conflagrate here to, just literally, bombard and destroy that Scavenging Ooze, but it's still not good enough. Golgari Thug for turn, so we can play. We have another creature. Still don't think it's good enough, but, it'll buy some time, which is all Andrew needs. He just needs to buy a little more time. I am definitely still shocked, though, after all these turns, he is still not drawn with that Peatland. He's like, nah, I want this green source.
I might have been a little hasty and done it by now. Just to see if I
for sure think I would have by now. 100%. And that prize Malcolm's gone. It's eaten. It's gone.
So let's see.
So now it's...
Looks like a K command in Colin's hand.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be rough. He already ate his creature, so he can't buy anything back and play it again. But here he can just wait. If he knows that Andrew has 4 lands, so if Andrew whiffs on this next turn, just not much is going to... Ooh, 1, 2, that's going to trigger. That's going to get eaten. He's like, I don't even care if it's an Archemy, but it's gone. And then before you draw, eat the other one. So it's a good thing he wasn't like us and he didn't crack it away, because now the Nurturing Peatlands is only green source left. And during his upkeep, he's like, I'm going to do it one more time. And if I was him, I would definitely eat that Conflagrate.
Yeah. I'm glad he didn't fire.
Yeah, definitely worked out that he did not fire off that Peatland, because the Conflagrate's gone, and...
This is why I don't play Jund. I'd be way too impatient.
I'm probably the same way. Sure, he's going to get to land a creature, but it's like... Unless he can just somehow get rid of that Scavenging Ooze, it really feels like we're just kind of prolonging the inevitable here. Ooh, Golgari Thug getting in there. So we had a K command?
It looked like he had a K command. Unless I'm thoroughly
here it comes.
Yep.
Because K command deals with your only creature, blows up your artifact, and then I'm going to attack you in for 6 because your Bloodghast can't do a thing.
Going to 3.
So going to game 3, double Scavenging Ooze for the win. Now, Scavenging Ooze is definitely a great card. Doesn't get main board respect as much as it used to. I think Jund is the only one that can arguably still play it in the main, but it is such a great card. Every format. You should just put that back in Standard again.
I think it would be fun.
It wouldn't even really do much in Standard. It would just be a sweet green creature.
Put an ooze in Throne Standard? That'd be great. Except that's not happening, so...
No. Eldraine is just like someone made a Scavenging Ooze in the basement of the castle. Sure, I'll take that bad storyline to get another Scavenging Ooze in Standard.
I wish they were all good. They're not all the oozes are not good. I wish they were, though. Tribal Ooze.
Biogenic Ooze is sweet in Standard. I could get a Scavenging Ooze, Biogenic Ooze deck going. And then maybe some weird other Simic creatures. Like Simic Growth Chamber. Oh, no, that's the land. What's it called?
Growth Chamber Guardian?
Growth Chamber Guardian, that's it. Get some weird...
Crab Man?
Yeah, some grab humans. Play a weird Simic. All my creatures are not proper creatures. They're all fused together. So I'm going to go to a nice game 3 here. See them shuffling up. Probably not going to add anything. They're going to stick with the same 60 they put in the game 2. I'm sure definitely Collin's still looking for that same start, like, just a spellbomb. Those draws were perfect, like drawing into Skews, then into Goyf. Like, those were definitely some great draws for Collin there.
So I got a question for you. What do you think? What impact do you think Throne might have on Modern? Think there's any standouts?
I haven't looked too much. There are some sweet cards that I think are definitely going to impact, like EDH. Like, we're going to have a sweet 5-color group hug creature. I'm already looking at taking apart the 5-color Bears deck with more fun and turning it into a 5-color group hug. Everyone gets to play Magic.
Okay.
Outside of that, there are definitely some interesting cards, especially with these adventure spells. I think anything can happen with these weird adventure spells. Like, they could fit into Modern, they could not fit into Modern. I'm still just trying to wrap my head around the whole, you can cast this as a sorcery, and if it resolves, it goes into exile. Now you can cast it as a creature later. It's such a weird set that I am not prepared for it. I haven't even finished looking because I don't even know if the spoilers finish it. It's got to have been.
I think yes.
Because pre-release is next Friday, so
Yeah.
spoilers definitely got to be finishing up. I'm sure at some point I'll take a look and figure out what's going on. But I know from what I've seen, there are some weird cards coming out.
So I'm pretty sure the rest of the spoilers came out yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they'll definitely be ending soon, Monday at the latest if they aren't out, just because with pre-release next Friday, they always have it out by, like, latest, I think, Monday before pre-release, so everyone can take a look and, like, kind of know what they're getting into.
I think the best part, gingerbread men and ladies and all sorts of things.
And gingerbread folk.
Just gingerbread and food tokens.
Food tokens are weird. I am a little disappointed in what they are. I thought they were just going to be, like, no ability. It was just food, but it was like energy almost, except it was a permanent you can deal with.
I think they learned their lesson about that type of thing.
So I figured instead of it being a counter you had, a permanent, that's a little bit of a fixed thing. But it ended up just being you sack this, gain life. And I was like, that's kind of lackluster.
A little worse than clues.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I expected a little more because, like, when they first introduced the food token, it was with the Planeswalker, and he didn't have reminder text. Yeah. And the Planeswalkers, like, always have reminder text. So either it was a typo on their end and they didn't think of it, or that's what made me think, food is going to be the new energy. Like, it's going to trigger how creatures work and stuff. Instead, it's just a different clue token. So I'm a little disappointed in that fact, but for the most part, I think Limited is going to be fun. It is going to be different than any Limited I've ever played before. You got a creature that's a sorcery, a board wipe, and then comes back as a 7/7 vigilance. Like, that just seems unfair and limited. So Thrones will be either a good time or a horrible time. I don't know which yet.
So it looks like Andrew is taking a mull.
Taking another mulligan down to 6. It's one of those decks, like we said, can definitely go to 6 and be fine. It even went to 5 there, and it was real fine. It was just that Nalhai Spellbomb double Scavenging Ooze. That's what did Andrew in. I'm sure if Collin kept 7, he probably has one of those in his hand again. Yeah, he's got Thoughtseize Spellbomb. Looking good with that hand. Get to take a look, take something apart, Spellbomb you, see what's going on.
So if I'm Andrew, I don't think I really like this. Looks like there was a Stinkweed Imp, a Loam, Bloodghast maybe, I think I saw.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no real discard outlets.
Yeah, no discard outlet, no real action. He's hemming and hawing. He's on the play. He can, like, fire turn 2 life from the Loam and, like, get things going there.
Ooh, is that a chill? Looks like
that is a creeping chill. So we can pitch that back into the deck, keep the 6, and continue about our day.
I honestly think I might just mulligan, right? Like, so it's an awkward scenario where if you do get the better 5, he can just possibly get, like, a turn 1 Neonate.
He can definitely.
Try and get
he actually put 2 cards back. Apparently, that was him going to 5. We missed one of his mulligans.
Oh.
So then for a 5-er, yeah, I think that's fine because if he gets Thoughtseize here, then he's putting a Dredger or a Bloodghast into the graveyard, which is fine, which is exactly what's going to happen. So obviously, No matter what the scenario is taken, I'm sure Andrew is fine with this because he's like, either I'm dredging or I'm going to get back a blood gas next turn for free. Which I think definitely blood gas is the correct answer because you just don't want Andrew dredging it until you can land that spell bomb next turn. So we'll fetch, we'll get back our blood gas at the end of the turn, and we can start turning it sideways. Like, Collin's already at 16 with that shock Thoughtseize, so starting to get in for 2 immediately with blood gas isn't horrible.
Yeah, no, like, in the past, blood gas has always been a thing. It's always been there. And then, eventually, when the first time they unbanned Grave Troll, it's been around ever since.
Yeah, blood gas definitely a great card. It fits into a whole bunch of decks. It's just like that weird niche. There's always cards that do similar things to another one. Blood gas is really the only one of its kind. Like, there's nothing else that's sweet. Like, the next closest thing, like, sure, Grave Crawler, you can cast from your graveyard. Vengevine can come back for free. Prized Amalgam. This was just, you played a land. Get a dude. You drew for turn, it wasn't great. Yeah, here's a land. So dredging a bunch of cards here. It's definitely what Collin wants. We're going to trigger a Spell Bomb and a Creeping Chill. That's pretty sweet. That was definitely a good turn for Andrew. That Cathartic Reading was sweet. And there's, like, nothing insane left in his graveyard. We can tell also because, like, the way Andrew's been doing it, he puts all of his relevant cards on the left, all of his non-dredge cards on the right. So even playing a Spell Bomb here doesn't really do much. It, like, obviously, puts a little fear into Andrew, but all of his dredge cards are already in his hand.
Yeah, I think if I'm calling here, I'm just trying to spell bomb away, draw the extra, draw the card.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Like, here you can contemplate, okay, if he fires off Life from Loan, do I care about the lands and, like, take away those? Or you can let it resolve and make sure the Life from Loan doesn't come back, and then you get a card back from it. It's definitely a little weird scenario here.
Let's see. Andrew's going to get in.
Yeah, obviously we're not going to get any haste here, so I think just, like, first things first, getting in for 3, and then trying to decide what to do from there is a fine play as well.
I mean, at this point, that's all that matters, right? Just ping him to get him low,
Yes.
Collin low enough, and then just...
Especially if you get him under 10 like you just did. Now, if, like, Blood Gas ever gets dealt with, or if you ever dredge a Blood Gas and it comes back, that's pretty sweet.
Or you still have Creeping Chills, too.
Yep, you got the Creeping Chills, so you definitely want to trigger those. Which... Not shocked the loan resolves. I would definitely want to... Ooh, now we're definitely going to crack it here. Now this is where I think they're just double-checking how the wording works. Like, I think he was asking him if he's going to dredge or not. You don't have to decide that until you actually go to draw the card. So if he wants to spell bomb, he has to do it beforehand.
Binghamton, probably like two and a half. Give or take, probably like 2.5 hours away. That'd be like my guess, somewhere around there.
I think I went to Binghamton once, and I do not remember exactly where it is in New York.
So my goal is, it's going out towards going out west, towards like Buffalo, Rochester. If you take 17 all the way out.
South Syracuse.
So I think
I think it's that far.
No, it's not. I want to say it's like 2.5.
Well,
Give or take, because I used to go to college like 45 minutes past that. But I have a goal to probably take a drive around the state and just hit up all the random places I haven't been.
there you go.
Just to, why not? See what else New York offers in terms of other game stores and other places. Be like, hey,
That's fair.
this is cool.
Do a little sightseeing, a little traveling. So
we got a trophy on Streakhorn.
Andrew's trying to get a little something going. He was able to get one Streakhorn activation, hit a prized amalgam. That is going to be coming back because the blood gas is going to come back. I'd imagine Andrew did this during his main phase. That way he will get the prized amalgam again at the end of turn. We'll find out once some things move. Yeah, the way he positioned that prized amalgam, I'd imagine. Oh, nope. Did not trigger. It was all during the end step. It's definitely one of those scenarios. Oh, my bloody ass is gonna die. Don't care. Get in for 2 damage. Play a land. Repeat the process. Ooh, hard cast the Stinkweed Imp. I like that. Because here now, if we just play the land, Bloodghast, and he has another Stinkweed. Honestly, I think we play land, Bloodghast, get another Stinkweed Imp, and you get the prized amalgam and everything back. That would have been a lot of creatures. I think too many for Collin to deal with, that he would die. But, Andrew's going to be conservative, play it safe. That's also fair.